I should really check my cabinets before I get started on like cooking on a whim. I've really been trying to concentrate on not wasting food, and so I try to like if I use the other day I used half of sweet potato. It's still sitting in there. I don't want it to sit there forever, so I'm like, okay. I saw this recipe for. I'm not sure where it's from. I think it's Korean. Is it Korean? Anyway, it's glutinous rice flour with squash, like a squash, and a little bit of like maple sugar or something sweet, and you mix it all together, and then you like pan fry and sesame over the top. And texturally is what calls to me because I love what glutinous rice flour can do. The whole mochi like texture thing, I love. So I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like supplement the squash with sweet potato, which is naturally sweet anyway. Maybe add a little bit of sugar, and then voila. So I cut it up like half, stick it in the steamer. Let that go. Then go look at my in my pantry, and there is no glutinous rice flour. I have rice flour, no glutinous rice flour. It's like crap. What can I do? So now, sweet potatoes left to their own devices to me are, I know, too sweet for when I am seeking a savory meal. So I was like, how can I like umami this up some? So what I'm gonna do is make a hash, and this started evolving. So I was like, oh, I'll do some bacon. So I was like, oh, I'll do bacon in the cast iron skillet, and then I can take like the somewhat, because they're not soft yet, so they've just been softened a little bit, so that'll make them easier to cook, like pan fry. Oh, I have some mushrooms. These mushrooms need to get used too. I'll put up some mushrooms in there. I was like, oh, I have some spinach. I can cut some spinach and put that in it. Oh, and I have an egg. I'll put an egg on top. All of these things are coming together. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but you'll see. Few lessons learned. One, I put my mushrooms either in too small pieces or in too early. Should put the potatoes in a little bit earlier. I had to add some salt. The potatoes, as I already know about myself, I don't really like boiled or steamed. Like I can steam green vegetables or whatever, that's fine. I'm gonna do, oh shoot, I forgot. Have a little bit of garlic, which I should have put in earlier. It's not really a whole lot to begin with, so maybe it'll cook fast. That aside, I threw in some thyme earlier. Not a whole lot. My thyme plant, I think this time of year, no pun intended, is jacking it up some. So I gotta read up on thyme. Is it annual? Will it come back in the spring? It didn't flower or anything, so I'm not really sure. All right, so we're gonna do one last little bit. Egg and that, and a little bit of pepper flakes. And now I'm going to. Okay, so I had the heat up a little too high, so I got a little bit burnt. Oh, let me show you what it looks like. It is pretty. But my timing was off. So I can smell my timing was off. Onions are overcooked. Ooh, this turned out pretty. Look. Perfect. The egg was perfect, which I usually don't get right. So we'll celebrate the small wins, and then we'll see what this tastes like. So the burnt onions are strong, which detracts. But actually, this isn't bad. When I first tasted it, the potatoes weren't cooked enough, and so that raw flavor was coming through. It's really strong, that I don't enjoy. But having them cook down a little bit more and get a little char on them actually is not bad. Got a little heavy hand on the salt. At the beginning, not enough at all. And then I went a little on the other side. So I gotta watch that. But overall, not bad. The sweet potatoes aren't as sweet as I thought they would be, which I appreciate. I think they were mellowed by the steaming. Not a bad hash. Could have done with more mushrooms. Can't really taste them. But yeah, I'm not disappointed. This is pretty delightful. I hope you're having some delightful too.